Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone to this weekly Bhagavad Gita reading session. We discuss Srimad Bhagavad Gita Sloka by Sloka every week, Saturdays or Sundays. And currently, we are discussing chapter number 3. Today, we will discuss verse number 18 and verse number 19. So, without further delay, let's start the session. I would like to start the session by performing some pranam mantras. Those who know can repeat after me. Those who don't can just listen to these shlokas very intently, because listening is also very, very purifying. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gururo Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघिते गिरि यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्यं हरि ओम तत्सत्. Okay. So we were discussing, in the last session, we discussed sloka number 16 and 17. Okay. Today we will start with sloka number 18 onwards. Okay. And so far we have seen that Sri Krishna has very nicely described the person who is self-realized, right? And in the previous verse, we saw that Sri Krishna is saying that such a person, that means a person who is self-realized, need not execute any obligatory duties. Okay, and at the same time, and the same theme, basically, he continues in the 18th verse, right? And we'll just read the verse and we'll try to analyze the verse. Okay, so let me share my screen. We can start reading the verse. All right, my screen is visible. Yep. The verse number 18, third chapter, goes like this. Naiva tasya kriternartho na krite neha kaschana न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यापाश्रयः नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो न कृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यापाश्रयः. And first we will have a look at some of the keywords and then we will read the translation. The keywords in this verse is tasya. Tasya means that person. Who are we talking about? Who is that person? One who is Atmaratihi. Okay, Atmaratihi means one who is taking pleasure in self, the person who is self-realized. That self-realized person has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties. This is what Lord Sri Krishna is mentioning. Na krite neha kaschana. Another part of this verse also. He has no reason for not executing those prescribed duties. So we have seen, like I mentioned in the earlier verses, that from verse number 17 onwards, there is a new section which is starting, where Krishna will speak about the self-realized person, and he will also speak about how a self-realized person is not obligated to perform any of his obligatory duties, okay, not obliged to perform any of his uh, obligatory duties, but at the same time, he has to continue to do that just to set an example. So this is what Krishna will be speaking about in this verse and the forthcoming verses. Okay. So na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschid artha vyapashraya. That means at the same time he need not depend upon any other living entity in this whole world. Okay. So let's read the translation. I will share my screen again, the translation, and then we will try to analyze this verse. We'll try to understand what Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain in the purports. So the translation goes like this. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor he has any reason not to perform such a work, nor he has any need to depend upon any other living being. So a very important verse, what Krishna is trying to say here, we'll try to analyze it, and then we can try to understand, okay, what is being said here. So the first two parts are very clear. A self-realized person need not execute his prescribed duties. This we have seen in the earlier verse also, verse number 17. Okay. Second part, na krite neha kaschana, right? That means he has no reason for not executing it. Okay, so this particular aspect we will see in the forthcoming videos, but for now, let's hold on to this part. Okay. Let's try to focus on the last two lines of this verse. Okay, na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschid artha vipashrayah. Okay, let's try to analyze this line. Okay, what does it say? Okay, so let's try to read from the purport what Srila Prabhupada is saying here. Krishna conscious man does not take shelter of any person, man, or demigod. Okay, whatever he does in Krishna consciousness is sufficient in the discharge of his obligation. Right? That means a person need not take shelter of anyone. Right? Not even the demigods, Devis and Devatas. His simple execution of Krishna conscious duties, okay, is more than enough. Okay, to discharge his obligations, basically. Right? This is what Krishna is saying. A very important verse to understand, especially for all the devotees. Okay. So, you see, we need to understand that in this world, there is no permanent shelter. Okay. Be it anyone for that matter. Okay. Let's take an example of two of the closest relationships that we see in this material world. The relationship between parent and a child, and the relationship between the spouses. Okay. So when the child is in the school or college, okay, they are totally dependent on the parents, right? And the parents are also taking good care of the child. They cater to their needs, okay. They ensure that the child is getting proper education, proper, nourishment through healthy food, and proper clothing and all those things, right? But can anyone guarantee? Okay, this is a question that I'm putting forward to all of you. Can anyone guarantee that the shelter which the parents are providing is eternal or is permanent? Parents are not going to be there forever. Okay. Similar is the case of spouse with the spouses, right? Spouses are not going to be there forever, right? There's a high likelihood that the parents will quit this body before the child does. And same is the case with the spouses also, right? The husband may leave earlier than wife, or the wife may leave earlier than husband. Okay. So these are the two most intimate relationships in the world, and we see that none of them are permanent. Okay, they are not eternal. Both the cases, we see that there is no permanent shelter. Okay, so throughout the life, people take shelter of this body. Okay, that we try to preserve this body very nicely, and of late, this whole concept of looking young and maintaining a very good physique and remaining attractive has become a norm these days, right? um, Not just among youngsters, but even among the middle-aged people, right? So shelter of the beauty, strength, and the person that has, we just try to take that, okay? And in that uh, effort or in that endeavor, we basically tend to forget one very important thing. Okay, that the rule of the world is that everything dwindles with time. Okay, be it beauty, be it strength, be it money, or anything else. Even the relationships, for that matter, they dwindle away with time. Okay, so which relationship is permanent here? Tell me. There is no permanent relationship here, right? And who can give the best part is who can give us a permanent shelter in this material world when we ourselves are not permanent, and we ourselves are temporary, right? So getting a permanent shelter is just not possible, okay, in this material world through any material person or place or anyone or anything for that matter. Okay, everyone is on their own journey and no one is dependent on anyone else. We have come alone in this material world, we will leave alone. Okay, everyone is flying their own plane. Okay, when we start living, of course, like when we start living with someone, generally what happens that we develop some attachment with them. Okay, and because of this attachment, we start saying that, oh, I'm so dependent on so and so person, or maybe so and so person is so much dependent on me. Okay, but to be honest, no one is dependent on anyone. Okay, the sooner we realize this, it's the better for us actually. Okay, everyone, as I said, is having their own independent journey. Everyone is flying their own plane. This is what Sloka used to say, right? As long as the aircraft is on the ground, it can get a lot of support from the ground staff, right? But once it takes off, it's just the pilot, right? So every one of us is just like a pilot, and we are flying our own planes. We are not dependent on anyone. Okay, we have come alone, we will leave alone. This is the bottom line. Okay, so the point which I'm trying to make here is that everything in this world is temporary. Okay, even the people are temporary, our relations are temporary, we are temporary, and our dependence on other people is also temporary. Okay, but to get the absolute satisfaction, or to get the absolute bliss, or to get the absolute protection, basically, right, happiness, okay, we need a permanent shelter. Okay, so how to get that? Why do people become fearful every now and then, right? Because deep down our hearts, inherently, right, we know that things that we are dependent upon, okay, they are all temporary, and one day we will have to part with them. Okay, things or people whom we are dependent upon, we'll have to part with them one day. Okay, but we are expecting permanent shelter. Okay, and because of this temporariness, they are always in a fear. People are always in a fear that, okay, I lose this thing, I lose that thing, and so much of anxiety is there, right? So much of anxiety, right? But when the person takes the shelter of Lord Sri Krishna, right, who's permanent, who is eternal, and we also, as living entities, are eternal, spirit souls, eternal part and parcels of Krishna, eternal loving servants of Krishna, right? We are also permanent. When we realize this thing, and when we take shelter of Sri Krishna, then that shelter is permanent, right? And that is a bona fide shelter, that is a valid shelter, that is an authentic dependence. Okay, and when we depend upon Krishna, when we take shelter of Sri Krishna, okay, then there is no question of fear, right? We know that we will be well established in our true identity, and we know that we are eternal loving servants of Krishna, and that relationship is always eternal. So there is no question of fear or anxiety. Yes. So it is very important to understand that bhakti, or worshipping Sri Krishna, is not an optional thing, right? It is mandatory. We have to take shelter of the permanent, and that permanent is Lord Sri Krishna. And that permanent shelter can be sought only through bhakti, only through surrender to Sri Krishna. Okay. Because bhakti means taking shelter of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Charanam Braja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshishyami Mashucha. Abandon all varieties of religion. Whatever prescribed duties you have, you just leave it. You just abandon it. Okay? And Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Take shelter of only me. Okay? Mam Ekam, only me. He's not giving an option to take shelter of this Devi or this Devata or someone else. Mam Ekam, you just take shelter of me. Okay? And then he's saying, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshishyami Mashucha. I assure you that I will take care of all your sinful reactions. Do not fear. I will burn away all your sinful reactions. Do not fear. Do not have any doubt whether I can do it or not. Do not have any doubt whether I will do it or not. I will do it. Okay. So just look at the confidence of Krishna when he's saying this, right? And this confidence is coming because he is permanent and he knows that he is the only one who can give us permanent shelter, right? Not just us, to each and every single living entity, right? He is the only one who can give us the permanent shelter. When we take the permanent shelter of Sri Krishna, we are freed from many things, okay? Including the mountain of sins which we have accumulated over lifetimes. Several millions and millions of lifetimes, we have accumulated so much of sinful reactions, right? Just in one instant, as soon as we take the shelter of Lord Sri Krishna, he is going to burn up those mountains of sins. Okay. So in this way, when we take the shelter of Sri Krishna, okay, then we become fearless. And Krishna takes care of everything that a devotee needs. And the devotee, okay, on the other hand, they think of only one thing, right? That how can I serve Sri Krishna better? They are not bothered about whether their own needs are being met or not. They are not bothered about their own requirements. Okay. They only think that, okay, how can I serve Krishna better? Okay. And how to attain Krishna in this very lifetime. And tell me, why should Krishna not take care of such a good devotee? Okay. Who is only aspiring to serve Krishna in a better way, who is only aspiring to take the shelter of his lotus feet? But Krishna is taking care of the living entities, you know, who have completely forgotten him, right? Who don't do anything for Krishna. Okay, even the atheists who don't believe in Krishna, Krishna is maintaining them as well, right? So why he would not maintain a devotee who is a sincere soul who just wants to take shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna? Of course he will, right? And if a person does even a little bit for Sri Krishna, Krishna becomes indebted to that person, right? So just imagine if someone will take a complete shelter of Sri Krishna, how much care will Sri Krishna take care of that person? Just think about that. Okay, that's why it is clearly mentioned in this verse that a self-realized person who understands the supremacy of Lord Sri Krishna, okay, who understands the permanent shelter which Krishna can offer, does not depend upon anyone, even the demigods. Okay, let alone the other people in the planet. Such a person does not even depend upon the demigods. Okay. So this is the sum and substance of this verse. We'll move on to the next verse. Just give me a second. We'll move on to verse number 19. And so a quick recap of what we had seen in Sloka number 17 also, right? In the previous two slokas, 17 and 18, Krishna talks about how it is important to understand a person who is self-realized. Okay, when Krishna is saying that for a self-realized person, okay, there is no obligatory duty to perform. Okay, he need not perform any obligatory duties. Okay, so when Krishna says this, Arjun might say that, okay, I'm also in the same category. Okay, so let me just give up all the obligatory duties and leave for the forest. I am not going to fight. Okay, Arjun might say like that. Okay, so from this verse onwards, this is what I'm stressing about. That from this verse onwards, Krishna will start explaining that even if you have no duty to perform over Arjun, okay, you will have to work. Okay, why? Just to set an example. Okay, and we will see. We'll read the verse and we'll try to analyze this. Okay. Let me share my screen. Verse number 19, it goes like this. Tasmad asaktah satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma parmapnoti purushaha. Tasmad asaktah satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma parmapnoti purushaha. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. Yes. So, we will try to understand some keywords here and then we will try to analyze this verse. Okay, so the keyword, tasmad, therefore. Okay, therefore what? Asakta satatam, without getting attached. Asakta means detached or without any asakti, right? Without any asakti to what? To the fruits. Fruits of what? Karyam karma samachara. That means your duty, your work, basically. The work or the duty that you are performing. Okay? Karyam karma samachara means that you should work as a matter of duty. Okay? Even if you are not obliged to work, just do it as a matter of duty. That is what Krishna is saying, and this is very important. Asakto hyacharan karma parmapnoti purushaha. Okay, that means a person who works like this without getting attached to the fruits of the work, such a person attains the supreme. Okay? So Krishna is giving us another way to attain Krishna, to attain him, right? To break this cycle of birth and death and attain his lotus feet. And what is that? Just give up your attachment to the fruits of your action, right? And just work as a matter of duty. Okay. So if we are going to do that, then we are going to attain the supreme. There is no doubt about that because Krishna himself is confirming this, right? So here, very nicely, Krishna is saying that we have to work according to our prescribed duties. Okay. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada also gives a very nice definition of the supreme. Okay. What is this supreme all about? Okay. For devotees, supreme means one thing, and for impersonalists, it means something else, right? For devotees, it is very clear. Like we know that who is Krishna, who is the supreme, Sri Krishna, right? Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. There is absolutely no doubt in our minds. Okay, but when it comes to impersonalists, for them, supreme means liberation. Okay, for them, supreme means liberation. So they just want to get rid of this material world. Okay, and they want to merge into the personal effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, become one with the Brahma Jyoti. Okay, that is liberation for them, for the impersonalists. Okay, but when it comes to the devotees, they are not satisfied with that. Okay, a devotee will not even accept liberation if there is no chance for them to serve Sri Krishna. Okay, only thing they want is service to Sri Krishna. That is it. Okay, even like they are being offered different types of liberations are there. That one kind of liberation is that you merge into the Brahma Jyoti of Lord Sri Krishna, personal effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. Another one is that you reside in the similar planet, as Lord Sri Krishna. Third is that you have the similar kind of opulence as Sri Krishna. Okay, Krishna has a big mansion in, say, Golok Vrindavan. You are also here having a huge mansion in Golok Vrindavan. You both of you come out in the balcony, you say hi to each other like that, right? So that is another kind of liberation. Yes. Okay, and then third is and next is that you can be the personal associate of Sri Krishna. Okay, another thing is you can have the same bodily features as Sri Krishna. Okay, so there are so many kinds of liberations which are there, but devotees are not interested in any of them. Okay, the only thing which they are interested in is the service to Sri Krishna. Okay, even if Sri Krishna comes and asks the devotee that, okay, I'm giving you a huge mansion in Golok Vrindavan, you come and you reside there. The devotee will question him back, will I have any service to perform? If Krishna says no, there is no service. Your job description is to just enjoy there with me, right? Then the devotee will say that, okay, I'm better off here in this material world because here at least I am able to serve you in some way, right? But there, if the service is not there, the devotee will simply, not accept even the liberation. Okay, that is the mood of a pure devotee. न धनम न जनम न सुंदरिम कविताम वा जगदीश काम ये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद भक्ति रहे तो की त्वयि. Right? This is what the Gauranga Mahaprabhu is saying in his Shikshashtakam. Okay, that, oh my dear Lord, I don't want dhanam, right? I don't want any wealth or any opulence. Na janam, I don't want any followers. Na sundarim, I don't want the association of any beautiful women. Okay? Mam janmani janmanishware bhavtat bhakti rahe to kitvai. What I only desire is that lifetime after lifetime, I get to serve your lotus feet. Okay? That means lifetime after lifetime means it is clear that a devotee is not even desiring liberation. All they are desiring is pure bhakti unto Lord Sri Krishna each and every single lifetime. Okay, that is the mood of a pure devotee. Right? So let's start reading from the purport. Okay. So Verse number 19, a person therefore acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance and without attachment to the result of the work is certainly making progress towards the supreme goal of life. So two things, that we have to keep in mind. Very important thing. Okay, that two important points are: one should work under guidance. Guidance of whom? And a bona fide spiritual master, right? A spiritual master or a guru who is coming in a bona fide guru shishya parampara. Okay, not some self-proclaimed, dhongi baba that okay, I am your guru, and then they start their own parampara, right? Not like that. An authentic bona fide guru shishya parampara, which when you start tracing back that you are a disciple, you have a spiritual master, your spiritual master has a spiritual master, your spiritual master has a spiritual master, right? In this way, if you keep on going, then you ultimately reach Sri Krishna. So if that kind of lineage is there, then that is a bona fide guru shishya parampara, and then you can accept a guru in that parampara, and under his guidance you can work. Okay, this is the most important point which is mentioned here. Second, it is the person should be detached from the work that they're performing, okay, without attachment to the results of the work. Okay, so if these two things are there, then such a person is certainly making steady progress towards Sri Krishna, and there is no doubt about that. There is absolutely no question about the authenticity of this process. Okay, we'll continue. To be a good man or a non-violent man is a personal attachment, but to act on behalf of Supreme is to act without attachment for the result. So I can be a good person or I can be a non-violent person, but these are all my personal choices. Okay, so whatever I'm doing, basically I'm attached to myself, right? These actions are attached to myself because I want to be or want to behave in a certain way, correct? That means attachment to the fruits of my actions is there. But when I start acting according to Krishna's desire, according to the instructions of Krishna or Guru or spiritual master, right? Then in that scenario, what happens? I am just, giving up my attachment to the fruits of the work, and then I am making a steady progress, right? So sometimes people may ask, that how do I understand whether I am, attached to the fruits of my work or not? Okay. So this is the answer here in the purport. Okay. When we act on behalf of Sri Krishna, at that time we can say that we are detached from the results of the work. Okay. This is exactly what Krishna is asking Arjun to do in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. You just give up all your attachment from your kinsmen, from your relatives, and you just act according to my instructions. Okay, that's what. Just go and fight. That's what Krishna is saying. Okay, so what happens to such a person who is just working on behalf of Krishna, who is just working according to the instructions of Sri Krishna? Okay, so we'll see in the purport. That is perfect action of the highest degree recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Okay, such a person is working on behalf of Sri Krishna, and he is just an instrument in the hands of Sri Krishna, right? Nimitta matra. Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin, right? This is what Krishna is saying in the 18th chapter, right? You just be an instrument and go out there and fight according to my instructions, right? That's it. Okay? Same thing is told to Arjun. Okay? So we'll see what he's saying. Arjun is told that he should fight in the battlefield of Kurukshetra for the interest of Krishna because Krishna wanted him to fight. Fight for whom? Right? Arjun was not interested in fighting. He was reluctant to kill his own kinsmen. Okay? But he was instructed to fight for Krishna because Krishna wanted him to fight. Okay? Now, when he starts fighting for the pleasure of Sri Krishna, then what happens? He is detached from the results of the work. Right? He is completely detached from his personal opinions and his personal motives. Right? So we'll continue reading. Vedic rituals like prescribed sacrifices are performed for purification of impious activities that were performed in the field of great sense gratification. Okay, so we have seen earlier also that the Vedic rituals, like there are a lot of sacrifices that are prescribed. Some are the part of the karma kanda, some are on the path of attaining the liberation. Okay, but one of the main reasons for performing such sacrifices is to get rid of the sinful reactions, okay, or purification of impious activities that we perform while doing the sense gratification. So question may arise that why is it so that we have to keep performing this, over and over again? Okay, or rather, let me frame this question in such a way that why is it so that even after performing these kind of sacrifices or atonements for our sinful reactions, okay, why do we go and commit the sins again and again? Right? Any form of atonement, or very recently we saw that there was a, the Kumbh Mela was organized in India on a very large scale, right? And it is said that during that period of time, that 1 month or 40 days, whatever is there, in that period of time, if someone goes and takes a dip in the holy Sangam, right, the point where three rivers meet, such person is like all the sinful reactions of such a person are washed away, right? But then, our acharyas say that such a dip or such a bath is very similar to the bath of an elephant, right? If you have observed an elephant taking a bath, what they do is that they go in the water, they bathe very nicely. They will spend a good significant amount of time in the water, enjoying splashing water on each other, and all clean and nice. They'll come out. As soon as they come out, they start throwing dust on their body again, right? So same is the case with us, right? We do some atonement for the sinful reactions that for the sinful actions that we commit. Okay, or maybe we can take a dip in the holy Ganges, or in the Kumbh Mela, or wherever. Then as soon as we come out, we start performing the sinful activities again. So why is it so? Okay, because by atonement, the reason is that by atonement, or by doing these pious activities, the sacrifices, performing these sacrifices, taking the dip in the holy Ganges, and all these activities, what happens that the trees of the sins that we commit are cut down. Okay, trees of the sins are cut down, but the roots, they remain actually. Okay, the trees, they are not uprooted; they are simply cut down by these activities, these kind of yagyas. Okay? But the roots remain, right? Roots remain, and whenever there is a favorable circumstance, right, the person starts committing sinful activities again. Okay, but here we see that Krishna consciousness is such a process that it uproots the trees of sins. Right from the root, it will just pull it off, and it will just throw it out of from you. Okay, so there is no question of committing that sinful actions knowingly again. Okay, so this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, and this is the reason why a person acting in Krishna consciousness is gradually and slowly completely purified, right? Completely purified. And once a person is completely purified from within, his desires are also purified, right? So for such a person, there will be no attachment to any material things, material people, material world, okay, or material places anywhere, right? They will not be attached to anything. The only point of meditation for such a person will be to attain Krishna this very lifetime. Okay, break this cycle of life and death, and just attain Krishna this very lifetime. Okay, and then such a person, after being purified, they are they come to understand their eternal constitutional position. Okay, that we are eternal servants of Krishna. Their position in the Golok Vrindavan will be revealed to them. Okay, and there is no question, or there is no doubt, that such a person, it's just a matter of time that such a person will break the cycle of birth and death, go back home, back to Sri Krishna. Right. So this is the sum and substance of this particular verse. We will continue with from the 20th verse onwards in the next session. I hope you all like the session. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Okay. Put your questions in the comment section. I will go through them, as and when I get some time. And if I feel that the question is a very generic one, that this kind of questions might be in the mind of many people, then I can create a video out of it. Okay. Or if you want a more personalized interaction with me, okay, like if you have any questions which you want me to specifically answer, related to spirituality, please feel free to connect with ISKCON Whitefield or ISKCON Kannamangala. The contact details are given in the description section. Okay, so we have a WhatsApp group where we can add you, and I'm also a part of that WhatsApp group, and in that way you can have a more personalized interaction with me. Okay. So on that note, we come to the end of this beautiful session. Verse number 18, verse number 19, two very good verses we saw today. Okay, we'll continue from the verse number 20 onwards next week. Till then, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.